Hi, this is Ms. Park. This is the second video for calculating sides and angles with SOH CAH TOA. So in the first video, we found missing sides. Now we're going to find missing angles. There's a little bit of steps here for your calculator. Now every calculator is different. Okay, so you'll need to practice with your own. But what we'll do is I'm just going to jump right to the examples. Okay, if this is your theta, and remember there's always going to be some reference angle, we're calling it theta here because it's unknown. Okay, so it's like saying x except for angles, right? But we're going to try and calculate theta. So we're going to do the same thing we did before, which is label the sides of the triangle as opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. In this first triangle, opposite the theta is the 14 inches. So this is the opposite. Adjacent to theta is the 6 inches. Again, how can you tell? Opposite is across from it. It's like if you're sitting at a table, you have somebody beside you and somebody across from you. So opposite is across from theta. Adjacent means beside. So it's the side that's touching theta. Now this other one is the hypotenuse, and you always recognize hypotenuse because it's across from the 90 degrees. Okay, now in this particular question, hypotenuse is not involved. Let me just get rid of this because it's messy. And I'll put a proper hypotenuse. Okay, hypotenuse is not involved because they gave you the opposite. They gave you adjacent, and it's theta that we're trying to find. Hypotenuse was not given, and they didn't ask for it. So hypotenuse is not involved. So when I write my SOH CAH TOA, I want the one that doesn't use hypotenuse. So I want this one here. So I want tan. So tan theta, I don't have a number this time. Tan theta is opposite over adjacent. And so tan theta, whatever theta is 14 divided by 6. Now, how are we going to figure out the theta knowing what the tan is? So what it is if you don't know the angle and you know that the tan of that angle is this number, there is a function on your calculator that's either second tan or shift tan. Okay, there's some kind of function, look for it. The shift or the second button is usually towards the top left of the calculator, and then find tan. So what we do is we say theta is called the inverse tan of 14 over 6. It means if the tan of theta is 14 over 6, then we undo that tan and you get theta is the inverse tan of 14 over 6. It's got this little -1 exponent, but it's not an exponent. It's just, it means inverse, which means undo it. All right, so we have learned about exponents before. This is not an exponent. It's just a little notation to say inverse tan, undo the tan and give me the angle. So now I will use this button in my calculator and I go inverse tan. And then often a bracket is open for you. If it's not, you should open the bracket. Open bracket, 14 divided by 6, close bracket. And I got 66.8 degrees, approximately. Okay? And so that's how we just found the missing angle. Let's do another one. I'll change my color just so it's not messy. All right, so here's my theta over here. That's my reference angle. Let's label what I have. 22.3 is the hypotenuse. I can tell that because it's across from 90 degrees. 15 centimeters is the adjacent. I can tell that because adjacent means beside. And this angle is beside the theta. Now the opposite is across from theta, but it's not given and they didn't ask for it. So it's not involved. So I'm going to ignore it. Okay, so let's write SOH CAH TOA. What do I have? I have opposite and I have adjacent. Which one needs opposite? Sorry, I have hypotenuse and adjacent. Which one needs hypotenuse and adjacent? Cosine. Okay, so cosine uses adjacent and hypotenuse. So I'm going to go cosine theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And so cosine theta equals 15 over 23. And now, if I know the cosine of theta and I want to undo that cosine to get only theta, I will, on my calculator, find the inverse cosine, so shift cosine, or second function cosine, of 15 over 23. So you'd go shift cosine, open bracket, 15 divided by 23, close the bracket. And that gives us 49.3 degrees, approximately. Okay, and that's how you find it. All right, now this last one, this C one, gives you so here's my theta. It gives you the opposite. It gives you the hypotenuse, and it gives you the adjacent, all of them. So which ones will you use from SOH CAH TOA? You could use any. Okay, so I'm going to write here over here, use any of them. Because if you want to use cosine, you need adjacent and hypotenuse, you have it. If you want to use sine, you need opposite and hypotenuse, and you have it. You want to use tan, you need opposite and adjacent, but you have it. So you could do it using any of the trig ratios you like. Okay, lots of practice for you. Please practice, and thanks for watching.